And we welcome you live to Daytona International Speedway, coverage of the 2015 SCCA National Championship Runoffs, presented by Garmin Verb on this Sunday morning. Steamy conditions here in Central Florida. Temperatures headed toward 90 today and plenty of humidity, just the way we like it. Dorsey Schrader, how are you this morning?
Man, I'll tell you what, it is really humid out. I walked out this morning and I went, are you kidding me? Actually, I turned the air conditioner on in the middle of the night, not thinking it'd be that warm.
Yeah, it's plenty tough conditions for drivers and crews to work today. Kind of midsummer conditions, as you'd expect in a lot of parts of the country. Still early in the fall. Of course, we're still in the month of September here at Daytona, but glad to be with you this morning. I'm Rick Benjamin, Dorsey Schrader alongside. Hayward Wagner with our coverage continuing on pit road. Days worth of coverage coming your way. We've already enjoyed Touring 2 and 3. Formula C just a few moments ago. Up next for us, GT3. The cars on the pre-grid. Spec Racer Ford before our lunch break. Greg and Jeff will be back with you for Formula F and the E-Production. We will wrap things up today with Formula Enterprises, FE, and P1, the fast prototypes at the end of the day today. So we got a lot of great racing. Dorsey, we have seen some fantastic action the first couple of days of these 52nd SCCA runoffs.
I posted last night on social media that this has been the best orchestrated, the best driven by the competitors runoffs I've seen in so many years. They have done a tremendous job on this racetrack as far as running things through like they should be. Not a lot of wrecks, not a lot of cautions. The competition's been, fierce. It's been really, really good.
We just saw some excellent action yesterday. The races you and I have been privileged to call here this year. I thought many times last night, I was trying to explain to my wife, who's here with me, but not at the racetrack this weekend, how good Formula V was yesterday. And, some of the lowest horsepower cars in the paddock put on one of the best shows of the year.
And they always do because, they're so draft dependent, and this is a draft dependent racetrack. They don't normally run on something this big, but it clearly shows the people who have to do that to move forward are better at it than the people that aren't.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of guys that have never drafted before. They're learning that they have to do it here at Daytona. And then there's classes like Formula V, Spec Racer Ford, which we'll see later, that have to do it at every single racetrack because of the underpowered nature of their vehicle. That being said, it is fascinating to watch.
It is, absolutely. And the other thing that's always so entertaining to me about the runoffs, the different approaches to fitting in within the rules in a given class. We're coming up on GT3. You've got several different brands. Acura, Mazda, a Ford Probe of all things, Toyota Celica, and Nissan. Only 11 cars will answer the call here this morning in GT3, but 5 different brands represented.
It's amazing. SCCA tries to accommodate all, take all in, and make things equivalent. Everybody does that nowadays, balance of performance or whatever you want to call it. But they do horsepower versus weight ratio, and on a given year, as some of these cars have gotten older and older and older, they disappear. So newer cars take their place, and they have to be balanced out. And when you do that, it changes the whole complexion. I mean, one year your car is a national champion. Next year it might be a 10th place car.
Yeah,
it's made it really hard for the competitor to budget. What am I going to do? Is my car going to last 3 or 4? This is the classes just like that.
Yeah,
you could be in and then you can be out.
Well, and of course, as always, within the SCCA structure, if you feel like your car has been penalized too much, you can always go back to the rules makers and say, hey, wait a minute, we've run a couple of races this year. We see we're off the pace by X. What can we do to bring that back into balance?
I was talking with Don Knowles, great guy from Road Racing Driver Club, and John Heinrichsey and the Phoenix Motorsports Group that builds race cars for everybody, and they actually were waiting to see, as the year went forward, what car might look like the right car to build, because they don't know. I mean, literally the class changes year to year, and so one car, why invest the money in a car that's going to be obsolete?
Sure.
That's kind of hurting this class, and it's hurting SCCA in a way, but what they're trying to do is evolve. We're going from old 1950, 60, 70 cars into a more modern era.
Sure. Well, as street car technology continues to change, and at the pro level, more and more types of racing and road course racing are evolving to take in that new technology. Pirelli World Challenge, a great example. IMSA with the Continental Tire Series. And with the main show, the Tudor Championship, which is going to change next year, become the WeatherTech Championship, we're seeing that everywhere. And, it will eventually reach down to the club racing level, certainly also. At Daytona International Speedway, coverage of the 2015 SCCA National Championship Runoffs presented by Garmin Verb. I'm Rick Benjamin. Dorsey Schrader is alongside. Coverage on pit road all weekend from Hayward Wagner, the hardest working man in showbiz, no question about it. We get a break. We do two of these, then we take a seat for a couple of hours. Hayward's just out there pounding the pavement all the time. GT3 is up first for us here today. We'll follow that with coverage for you before our lunch break of Spec Racer Ford. We did the Gen 3 Spec Racers yesterday, which was a terrific show. Well, we got 50 or so Spec Racer Fords coming up a little bit later on, but right now our focus will be on GT3, and as we mentioned a moment ago, 11 entries set to take the green flag in a few moments in this race. 5 different brands of cars represented here.
And that's the thing. It's all over the board. Now, which car here at Daytona, that's another anomaly. We're at Daytona Speedway on a super speedway. And so, which one of these is going to be the right car for this racetrack?
Be interesting to see. Pole sitter is an Acura driven by Joe Christensen out of London, Ontario, Canada. Let's set the scene downstairs to Hayward Wagner.
Guys, the clouds have cleared out, and it is getting hot again in Daytona. We had a couple of raindrops before the start of the Formula Continental race, but everything looks clear for this GT3 field. Guys from all over the country battling out this class, but they're all chasing a Canadian driving an Acura RSX. This is a rear drive tube frame RSX, but carrying Honda K-Power on board. He has been flying all week.
Joe Christensen is the guy we're talking about. He has out-qualified the field significantly. Let's see here, about 6/10 to the good over a time posted on the final day of qualifying. Mike Henderson of El Cajon, California, will start on the outside of the front row in a Mazda RX-7. And Dorsey, you take a look at this. You've got 4 brands in the top 4 spots: an Acura, a Mazda RX-7, that lone Ford Probe, the Young Racing Machine, Paul Young out of Commerce Township, Michigan. And then you've got Chad Bacon's car out of Tennessee, the CB Motorsports Toyota Celica. So it's a wild mix of cars.
Right, and so one thing we know for sure, brand loyalty won't be an issue. I think for everybody outside the front car, what will be an issue is they better become friendly with one another. Drafting.
It will be very interesting to see here at GT3 what role the draft plays in this. Christensen on pole, that's car number 14. It's a red Acura. He's out of London, Ontario, runs in the Detroit region. And Joe's an engine builder. Had a chance to chat with him the other day, interview him for our HPD trackside coverage at Honda Racing's YouTube channel. And Joe, he was smiling all the way. And he said, man, we put a lot of effort into this car. We are faster than everybody, but you never know until they drop the green flag.
Yeah, you don't. And you're faster than everybody. This is like a dyno run when you come to Daytona because you're wide open throttle for about 3/4 of the lap. You're just wailing on the engine. These are small engines, small displacement. That being said, it's tough. I mean, they don't have another place to go and do this type of a run.
Yeah, you might get some similarity at Road America with the long front straightaway, but the banking isn't there.
Now, the banking's not there. That takes the oil away from the pickups. These are all dry sumps, so it shouldn't be a problem. They don't run the oil through the oil pan anymore. So it shouldn't be a problem on that end, but still, it's different.
Christensen there in the 14. He is your pole starter. A fast lap on the weekend of a 2:01.7. Alongside Mike Henderson, El Cajon, California, in the Goodyear 12 car. That's a Mazda RX-7, ran a 2:02.3 in final qualifying Thursday. Paul Young starts third from Commerce Township, Michigan in the 79. The Young Racing Ford Probe. How long has it been since you saw a Ford Probe on the grid anywhere?
No kidding there.
Third fast qualifier is Young. Chad Bacon in the 118 from Kingsport, Tennessee. That's a white Toyota Celica. He will start on the outside of row number 2. Fourth row, make it the third row. Bill McGavick from Arcadia, Florida in the 69. That's the No Mo Money Mazda RX-7, the 69 car. James Ash from Prospect, Connecticut, a New England region racer from My Home Turf, the 22 car. The Spectro Oil Machine, that's a Mazda RX-7, starting in the 6th position. 7th starter, the 52, Guy Lading from Woodside, California. That is a Mazda, and it is an RX-7. Fuzzball Racing, the name of the team. The 91 car of Kendall Nelson from Novi, Michigan, lines up in 8th spot. That's a Nissan 300 SX back there in the fourth row. Fifth row, Robert Werkocki from Frankfort, Illinois. The TRG Mazda RX-7, that's the 78 car. The 7 of Ray Stevenson will start 10th. He's from Miami, Florida. The RPM Racing Mazda RX-7 final in the field. Richard Allen from Chickasha, Oklahoma in the 8 car. It is a Nissan 350Z track model. Posted a time on the second day of qualifying of 2:18, so quite a bit off the pace, but we'll see what happens. I mean, that should be a pretty good car, Nissan 350.
These are silhouette bodies. You're supposed to make them look like the street car, but these, they look kind of Miami-ish for sure, but I don't know what all of them are without the name on it.
But these are two-frame race cars.
Yeah, two-frame race cars, real race cars with a carbon fiber body shell, if you will, as a silhouette to what its street brethren is.
So an interesting mix of technologies here in GT3 as we are about to go racing. It looks as though the lights are out on the safety car, and we should get a start this time by as they line up 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. Again, 11 cars in the field. You need 10 to qualify and appear for the race to make it a full national championship event. We've got that here. See 4 rows of cars out there right now. Not sure everybody was able to make the start here today. We will find out about that shortly. Front row starters are Joe Christensen in the 14, Mike Henderson in the black 12 car on the outside. Got a couple of stragglers in there as well. Looks as though all 11 cars have answered the call here this morning for the GT3 National Championship event. One car coming down pit road right now a little bit late, but apparently will be able to tag the field at the back end. Leaders coming down. We'll see if the safety car does dive for pit road here. And he does. And we are set to go racing. Glad to have you with us. The 2015 SCCA National Championship Runoffs. Christensen in the 14 on the inside of row 1. Mike Henderson on the outside. They are side by side, Dorsey Schrader.
And Paul Young with a great start from third is going to carry some momentum down here. Everybody's pretty much shallow. He left that door open, which I don't know why you would, but
that's the 118. Chad Bacon trying to sneak through on the inside of Young and take third spot away.
I would have taken it too. That was there to do for sure.
Young able to establish, though, in third position there in the 79. And blue and white Ford Probe. The 118 settles into fourth. That's Bacon's machine.
Chad Bacon, I would assume, is the son of Al Bacon, longtime competitor, just basing off of where he comes from.
Bill McGavick from Florida, 5th in line. There's your leader, Christensen. He's opened up several car lengths already on Mike Henderson, running second. 5th place car at the moment behind the 118. Looks like the 22 has stuck in there. That's James Ash out of Prospect, Connecticut, getting by the 69 of McGavick.
These cars will be really fast on the infield. They're very agile. They have a good power to weight ratio. You know, they don't have the biggest displacement, so on the banking, maybe not so crazy, but down through that infield, they're going to really cut it up.
So the GT3 field up on the high banks for the first time today here at Daytona International Speedway. Joe Christensen out of London, Ontario, Canada is your early leader in his Christensen Racing Engines Acura. That's the 14 car. He's got a dozen or so car lengths on the second place machine of Mike Henderson. A sense of how fast these cars are heading down into the bus stop.
I was about to say the speed shot looks really good, and you can hear the RPM of the engine. They're screaming.
Up onto turn 3 of the big oval here. Working lap number 1 of 14 this morning here at Daytona International Speedway.
No drafting going on, and that just tells me that these cars are, they've separated themselves pretty significantly in one lap.
Christensen continues to lead. He qualified on pole by a good margin. 0.6 of a second back to Henderson now. The 78 of Werkocki starting from pit road. That was the car that was the straggler we saw. He was scheduled to start 9th in the 78, the TRO Mazda RX-7.
Werkocki, a past national champion, not necessarily in this particular class, but has been racing and doing well for quite a while.
You can see these cars, how much better maybe they handle than some of the other cars we have seen. Not using nearly as much curb there coming off the International Horseshoe.
Now, like I said, the infield is their forte, no doubt. They're lightweight, they're agile, they're very, very, very quick and nimble. The thing that hurts them here is 3.5 miles, and the fact that, they'll hit an arrow wall versus their horsepower.
Mike Henderson there in the Mazda, the black Mazda in second spot, closed right in on the leader in that one section of the infield. About to make the final left-hander and up onto the high banks. The Acura continuing to lead the Mazda Rotary.
Rotary, though, gets top-end legs. You know, it's going to turn a lot of RPM, and right now he's up in the draft, or at least he's getting some effect of the draft, so not out of the ball game yet.
Paul Young is third, Chad Bacon in the 118 fourth, Bill McGavick in the 69 taking back fifth position, and Guy Lading in the 52, Stevenson in the 7 is seventh, and Nelson in the 91 shown eighth last time by.
Rotary engines turn a lot of RPM to make horsepower. That's all fine and dandy. You know, you're up there 10,000 RPM plus. However, torque-wise, that's what gets you off the corner and makes you climb hills and things. They don't have any of that. It's always been the nemesis of the Wankel engine. They don't have any decel help from the engine, and they don't have any acceleration from a dead stop or from a low end to get up. Once they're spooled, yeah, they will run.
Christensen continuing to work on the lead.
You see it right
14,
here.
Yeah.
You know, you see that. You see the rotary engine really get its legs 3/4 of the way down the straightaway. Problem is, by that time, the Acura is checked out.
Yeah. Henderson making it close, though, in the early going. He found some speed late in the week in qualifying and cut the gap down. When we talked to Christensen earlier in the week, he was close to 2 seconds ahead of the field in the early qualifying rounds. But by Thursday, Henderson had chopped that down to about 6/10 in the 12th car.
Henderson's chopped it down to about 2 car lengths now.
Yeah.
Really made up some ground there.
Christensen continuing to lead in the 14. This has all the earmarks of a race that's going to go down to the wire between these two.
It could very well be. Yeah, I mean, that's whoa, that little loose right there, and that's the high-speed king. The 79 car, that is not where you want to be getting loose. Paul Young did a good job holding on to it.
That's the Ford Probe, the only one in the field here. Probe bodywork on that tube-frame machine. The 118 car of Chad Bacon in fourth position. This is for third and fourth as they come up onto the banking. And the 79 slipping wide on that corner. We've seen several people do that. It makes me wonder if that corner just isn't. It's a little off camera and it's plenty slick there.
It breaks up. It gets really oily down there. And you're trying so hard to carry momentum up onto the banking because once you hit that bank, it's like a brake. You know, it catches you from the slide, but you're really overdriving that bottom of the corner, trying to get whatever advantages can be gotten.
Up the back straightaway, the super stretch as it's called here at Daytona International Speedway, and then downshifting for the bus stop. Battle for third here between the 79 of Paul Young, Bacon, and the 118.
Bacon now close enough to get the pull from the draft.
Yeah.
I would expect he will start gaining ground here, and he is.
Bill McGavick in fifth, another 2 seconds or so back. Then it's a 3-second gap to Guy Lading, who is sixth. It's the battle for third position. Leaders have put lap number 2 on the board, looking lap number 3, and you can see the Christensen and the Acura there, bottom of your screen, starting to stretch it out a little bit. This one of the best battles as the 118 of Bacon closes in here on Paul Young going into turn 1.
Got there too late. He was gaining the whole way, but you know, by the time you're down in the brake zone, there's not much you can do with the fact that you're doing 10 mile per hour or more. See all the cars moving around. It just lets you know the guys are driving them in really deep. The cars are really good on handling, and certainly on this infield, they'll push the limit.
No question about that. Dorsey, as you pointed out a couple of times here this weekend, be tidy in these cars. Sideways may look good, may be fun, but it's not fast in a car like this.
No, not under horsepower cars. They cannot sustain, you know, that scrub ratio of getting the car loose. Oh,
the 118 of
here.
Bacon, yeah, right up alongside Young for third.
I would think he might try him down here. I'm not sure, not quite enough yet. But he's definitely got the draft now, and I think has the faster of the two cars.
Third spot in play. The lead at the moment held by Joe Christensen. He has opened up a 1.5-second gap on Mike Henderson. So Henderson may be in that mode of saving his tires a little bit, letting them cool down and holding. We've seen a lot of last lap passes for the win here this week.
Yeah, Christensen, on the other hand, everybody has said all along, has got tons of speed. That 2-second gap early on in the week, everybody went, oh my.
Yeah.
You know, that's a lot.
Yeah, you want to see it a lot closer than that, I think, from a competition standpoint, no question. for third here. Bacon in that white Toyota Celica trying to close in on the Ford Probe bodied car, the 79 of Paul Young.
Kind of lost ground there through the exit of the infield onto the bank. So the Probe must have pretty good legs, horsepower, torque coming onto that banking.
These cars running laps in the 204 bracket, race pace right now. Not the fastest cars of the weekend by any means. Would this be a car, Dorsey, where you would not, again, want to climb the banking because of the lack of horsepower?
I would think running bottom on the bottom would be better, but they are doing 160 just about down the chute here. 158 for most of them.
Not bad at all. Not shabby indeed. Christensen there in the red 14, that Acura. He's led all the way so far. Completing 4 laps, working on lap number 5, infield section here at Daytona. Young in the 79 is still with his hands full for third. Bacon right up on his deck lid.
What was the old NASCAR series they used to run with the 4 cylinders? I can't think of it. It
was the Goodies Dash
Goodies
series
Dash
back in the day.
That's what this reminds me of.
Very similar to that. Very similar to that. Well, you're asking me to reach back into my NASCAR heritage here,
I knew you'd know, though.
Yeah. Again, the battle for third, the 118. Chad Bacon really putting some pressure on Paul Young here. Young's got his hands full in that 79. No question.
He does. I want to see this time when they come up on the banking if it's not the fact that the Probe has got superior straight line speed. I mean, they're right there. They're glued together. But this is exactly where the deficit was lost last time. And it is again. Look at that.
Bacon in the 79. Chattanooga, Tennessee, his hometown. Races in the East Tennessee region of the Sports Car Club of America, one of my former home regions.
Probe really starting to stretch that gap, so it's good on the bank.
Yeah, he seems to be getting into what would be turn 1 of the banking better by far than the
and that could be a little bit to the wing, how much adjustment they have on downforce. I would think mostly they're trimmed out. More than likely, more due to horsepower.
Yeah,
I would say.
It does look as though everybody's running those wings pretty much flat back there.
Yeah, you don't need much help around here. The banking does what you need as far as getting grip.
Now Young going right. Whoa, and he went below the line there.
Boy, and something might have gone wrong there. Whoa. Now he's up high. Wow, he did. He had a moment right there, no doubt. And the Toyota closing.
Here's your leader, Joe Christensen, continuing to stretch it out. He was 2.5 seconds to the good last time by over Mike Henderson and the Mazda RX-7.
Yeah, he's gotten such a lead that we forgot about him. That's you lose TV rights when you go way
there
out.
You go. I take that back. That is not Christensen. That's another red race car. He was all by himself. I thought it was Christensen there. No, that's the 69 car. That's your 5th place car, Bill McGavin. Hadn't seen his Mazda RX-7 as yet. Black trim on the bottom of that car. Here's your 2nd place car of Mike Henderson in the 12. Last time by.
Ooh, and here comes.
4 seconds the gap up front. Christensen is stretching it out. 2nd and 3rd and 4th may be a battle here in a few moments because Young is not far back of Henderson.
I think Young, though, might be in trouble with tires. I mean, that car now is starting to dice around. Looks like a handful. And with the Toyota right up underneath the back of him, he cannot be messing around. I mean, he's got straight line speed.
Oh, he's got his left front's down, I think.
Oh, you might.
Or he's got a broken shock. The car seemed to be leaning quite a bit on the left.
Yeah, it doesn't look stable whatsoever. So
when he went into that last right-hander, the car really heeled over on him. Take a look here when he gets up on the bank.
Yeah, well, keep an eye on that. I agree that something in the last lap has made that car not happy at all.
Henderson in the 12, continuing to run 2nd down the super stretch here.
I think he's good, but
there's your battle for 3rd.
The third, that group
Young
is catching.
Bacon, yeah. Watch that car kind of dance. I think something's wrong with that left front, doors.
He looked okay through there. He might have just had an awkward stance. This is where he's good up on the banking. And now the Toyota really is not that far back, and it's getting it affected the draft.
Bacon in the white 118 car looked as though he has been alongside Young for 3rd a couple of different times here. And they are starting to hunt down Mike Henderson in the 12, who runs in 2nd spot.
Aren't they? I mean, they're right coming up on that. And there's plenty of race left, too.
Take a look at the gap here. 6 complete, working lap 7 for Christensen, the leader. 4.6 seconds the gap between 1st and 2nd, but 8 tenths back to 3rd.
Ooh.
and then another 0.6 back to fourth on the banking. Here in the twisties in the infield, it's going to be a lot tighter than that.
Halfway through, Paul Young is driving at the limit. I mean, that car's skating around. Possible problem with the left front. Looks like it gets a lot of negative camber.
Yeah.
Or positive camber, actually.
I wonder if that tire's down a little bit. He's able to drive it. It's obviously not flat, but boy, it just looks to me like that left side that the car's wanting to heel over quite a bit.
A lot of movement in the body of that car.
You see it again there, kind of drop down. Tires
looks like
up.
It's really softly sprung up front. Yeah. There's a lot of front end movement. It could have a sway bar broke or a spring, or probably shock. That's what normally
something
goes
in
on.
Front of that corner of the car. See if Bacon can do anything here with Young on the high banks. Young, what tipped us off to the potential problem in the 79 was he dove to the bottom and got over the double yellow line briefly, and then had to yank the car back up onto the banking.
Looks like when he brakes, it's compressing the shock and spring, and he's on the bump rubbers, and it's rebounding off of that. You can see it when he brakes really hard for a corner. A lot of movement in the front of the car.
I think the rear wants to come out on him just a little bit as well.
Well, a broken sway bar will do that too. Yeah. It'll initiate so much grip at the front by being soft and so much roll that the back rolls out from under it. So any of those things on the front end will affect the back sooner or later.
No question. Running order continues to be Christensen in the 14. He is long gone right now, almost 5 seconds out in front of Mike Henderson in that black 12 car. You're watching second, third, and fourth. Here's your leader, Christensen, down to arrow into turn 1 right now. Fifth spot belongs to Bill McGavick. Guy Lading is sixth. Ash, Stevenson, Nelson, Richard Allen, and Robert Warkocki, the rest of your field as the battle for third rages. We'll take a quick break, come right back with more of GT3 action here in the 2015 SCCA National Championship Runoffs.
The 2015 SCCA National Championship Runoffs, presented by Garmin Verb, is being brought to you by Mazda. Mazda, driving matters.
16 wide eyes. Driver's license, took 2 tries, bought a Roadster secondhand. Playing parties with the band, loaded up, off to state. Hijinks, tailgates, starter, midsize, family cruising. Now in the garage, something new reminds you of when you were you.
It's time to face facts. You're a gearhead. You wish the freeway on-ramp was your personal racetrack. Well, buckle up, buddy, because the Sports Car Club of America wants you. With 40,000 members and events across the country, the SCCA has all the excitement you can handle. Dance the blacktop two-step with SCCA Solo. Get down and dirty with SCCA Rallycross. Or go wheel-to-wheel with SCCA Club Racing. Hit the track with the SCCA, where America's best drivers race.
Back at the World Center of Racing, GT3 action with the national championship up for grabs here at Daytona. These SCCA National Championship runoffs. Alongside Dorsey Schrader, I'm Rick Benjamin. Edward Wagner with our coverage on Pit Road. It's been a terrific weekend of action in these runoffs thus far. We've got a full day of racing coming your way here on Sunday to wrap things up. GT3 on the racetrack right now. We are halfway home. This will complete lap number 8 next time by. 7 complete of 14. 50 miles our distance in all of these sprint races. 40 minutes of clock time allotted to each event. Your leader, Joe Christensen, he's led all the way after qualifying on pole. He's got a 5-second advantage here. Now for third, here comes Bacon again, closing in on Paul Young. But he's going to do it this time.
Tuck it in there. That was amazing.
Bacon said, this is my opportunity going into one. He makes it work, and Young is left to try to chase now.
He put the 2 wheels in the grass to do it, but he saw the opening, took advantage. Paul Young, I was about to say, has been holding on pretty good with what we think might be a soft front end.
Bacon now starting to pull away. You see this sometimes, Doris. A guy will chase, finally get by, and then drives away. Obviously had a faster car. Here comes Young, though, right back at him.
Yeah, Chad Bacon's got to make some tracks right here on the infield where he's good. He's going to have to open up some kind of a gap because we know Paul Young's car is faster. That probe's going to get more mile per hour on the straightaway. He opens up about 4 car lengths. That might be enough. That could be.
Bacon starting to pull away a little here in the infield of Daytona International Speedway.
Like I say, none of these cars are used to running at this Speedway, super speedway. And so their aero and their, what kind of car they'd have during this race, they're just now finding that out.
Chad Bacon in that Toyota, the 118, with third place in hand now and
Here
opening up half a dozen car lengths over Young.
Yeah, but Young now has the straightaway speed. He always has had it. And he's in the draft this time, too. So I don't know if that's enough to get by at the at the bus stop. Yep, pops to the inside. Not this time. This should really help.
Yeah, Bacon,
Chad Bacon should really help now.
Here.
I mean, he's got to get through this bus stop, get some ground. If he can lead down to turn one, he'll pull away.
Race leader Christensen has been out in front all the way, and he had built a 5-second lead. Don't know whether he's starting to back out of it to make sure the car holds together all the way to the end, or if he's developed a problem, because the last time around, Mike Henderson had cut the lead down to 2.6 seconds. We'll see what happens this time. Christensen, I think, maybe getting back up on the wheel here a little bit. Gap is pretty significant. There's your leader heading toward one. Here's your second place car. And this time, timing and scoring tells the story for us of a 3.8 second gap. So Christensen, I'm sure, has someone on the radio saying, hey, you might want to pick it back up again. He adds 1.3 seconds to the gap in that lap.
Question is, now that Chad Bacon has gotten by Paul Young, can he open up that gap, or can he close in now on what is going to be second place?
Good question, certainly. And now that time around, it looked like the second, third, and fourth place cars were going to bunch together and battle. But Henderson about 2.2 seconds ahead of Bacon as they came over the stripe last time. Timing and scoring, timing loop at start finish. Here's Henderson, your second place
I think
car.
he is making up. I think he's making up the deficit for sure.
On the leader.
On the leader and Mike Henderson both.
All right, let's get an update on this GT3 battle. Hayward Wagner.
Guys, I was just talking with Chad Bacon's crew. They had a waiting game strategy. They felt like the two of the three cars in front of them would have issues with tires based on the compound they went out on and their driving style. Bacon wanted to just kind of sit back, let them wear those tires down a little bit before he went on the attack, and that's exactly what he's doing right now.
Chad Bacon in attack mode out of the East Tennessee region, representing the hometown, Chattanooga, Tennessee, in that 118. Doing a nice job here so far.
I was going to mention the fact that the compound available on this class can be so soft that you can actually blister and or wear the tire out before, as we've seen the 7 car now with a spin.
Ray Stevenson and his RX-7 going into the grass in the infield and bringing some dirt up onto the surface here. Stevenson not a factor, being shown 9th, about 50 seconds behind the race leader.
Drove in this class for a while, and if you went soft compound, you would definitely have to watch your P's and Q's for a half-hour race even, much less 40.
Here, 50 miles, there's the Stevenson spin in the 7 car. Got behind on his steering a little bit.
I was about to say the same thing. He sure did.
Ends up in the grass, but is able to refire and get back into the race. Here, where it's such a hot day, the banking certainly punishes tires if you run too soft a compound. I would think you'd go about as hard a compound as you could stand here.
So, well, these cars are pretty lightweight, so they can get away with it. But you're right. I mean, up on the banking and around this racetrack, the right rear suffers. And certainly the heat outside, near 90 degrees, really humid. Yeah, you could do damage to the tire here.
Leader Joe Christensen showing that he has got the dominant car in the show. Ran a lap in the 203s last time around. Built that lead back up to 6 seconds over Mike Henderson there in the black 12 car, the RX-7. But he is getting pressure now. Bacon has closed in. It was 1.3 seconds at the stripe. And here in the infield twisties, Bacon is flying in that Toyota.
Yeah, Chad Bacon, I think they've taken the rain off him now. He tell him, go get it. And I thought once he got clear, he could actually make ground, and he is.
Paul Young continuing to run 4th in the Ford, the 79, but Young's falling back 1.6 seconds behind Bacon as they cross the stripe last time. 10 complete. This is lap 11 that we're working out of 14 right now. GT3 honors are on the table here. Second place very much in play. Mike Henderson, outside pole qualifier in that black RX-7, the 12 car. He has had that spot all race long. Bacon, though, trying to track him down as they hit the banking.
And now, close enough to get some advantage or some help on that draft. It's the rotary engine again with no torque, but a lot of top end up against the piston driven.
Yeah,
and he's there.
Stop.
He's right there.
Bacon putting lots of pressure on Henderson, who is really loose in that RX-7. Who gets the better shot out of the bus stop?
Well, really, the Toyota did a better job of the bus stop, but I think power is going to be an issue right here. As long as he can stay in that draft. You look how agile those cars are, though, when they go through there.
Oh,
They just fling them around.
Let's see what the gap is this time by. Bacon last time around 1.3 seconds behind Henderson as they cross the stripe.
Should get him on top end here. The Toyota should be pulled in. He'd be much better on braking and cornering. We'll see if he can do anything down here in turn 1.
Paul Young also staying within sight of these cars. Second, third, and fourth up for grabs. Yeah, Henderson a little bit loose entering one there. It looked like when he started to turn in. Bacon right up on his deck lid.
This is where Bacon needs to make his move. He's got to get by somewhere early on the infield. Ooh.
Paul Young sliding
almost
way loose in that.
Oh,
79.
I think he's broken something this time. He's really wobbling around. Well, we'll see. It's either that or he's just totally out of tire.
That could be.
Could be that too. Yep. Could be blistered or.
Battle for second. Silver medal in play here. Less than 3 laps remaining in the GT3 battle here at Daytona International Speedway. Bacon in the 118 has gotten by the 12 car. So Chad Bacon makes his move in the infield sections here. You can see Henderson getting more and more loose as the run went on.
Toyota stuck like glue right now. But again, we're going to see what happens when they hit this bank. The little RX-7 should have superior top end.
But your exit speed determines a lot of that, and Bacon seems to me to be getting off the corners a little bit better.
He's got the most stable car right now.
Yeah.
You know, he's just destroying those guys mid-corner out.
So Bacon starts to pull away in second spot now. He's got less than 3 laps to see if he can do anything with the race leader Christensen, who's been in a different time zone for most of this race.
I don't think he'll catch all the way to the front, but that's been a really good run by Chad Bacon. I don't think anybody's strong enough to get by him again either.
Bacon started 4th here today, outside row 2. He has raced his way to second spot in the GT3 National Championship. It's been pretty much Christensen's week in this car in the 14. His Acura outpacing the field by a couple of seconds early in the week. By Thursday, Henderson had closed that gap down to about 6/10. Once we dropped the green today, Christensen pretty much drove off into the sunset. And there he is. Canadian leading all the way so far. 2 laps to go for Joe Christensen in that red 14 car, that Acura powered machine.
He is on a Sunday drive, literally.
RSX bodywork on that car.
Car looks nice and flat.
Yeah.
No wiggling around. That's well underneath him. As is our second place car, Chad Bacon. That Toyota looks awfully good as well.
Bacon last time by was 9 seconds behind the race leader. So Bacon doing a great job to get around Henderson for second spot, but Christensen taking advantage of that battle, as so often happens, to drive further off into the sunset.
Well, for Chad Bacon, if in fact he finishes where he is right now, he had no better than a second place car, and he's got it where it needs to be, second.
Yeah.
Might have even been, not quite as good as that, but he's kept the tires underneath the car, and everybody else seems to be wiggling and squirming around, Henderson and Paul Young.
The timing and scoring we have available to us here in the broadcast booth gives you a lot of information, of course. One of the great things about technology in the sport. And one of the things we can always look at, best lap time posted by each car. Well, Christensen's best lap has been at 2:03.6. Bacon's best lap at 2:04.2. So 6/10 difference there, best to best. Christensen all by himself, no help in the draft, but clean racetrack.
And you look at top-end speeds. I mean, these are not slow cars. 158.68 by Mike Henderson in the trap down there in his RX-7. Just short of 160. That's kind of the same, like I said, the same kind of speeds you would see here in the Dash Series.
Sure. These cars, I would venture to say, are quite a bit quicker around here than the Dash cars would have been, because they ran
the whole oval.
They did run the whole oval. That series passed out of existence some 15 years ago, and there was an attempt to revive it a few years later. White flag for Joe Christensen, 1 to go. And it did not really get anywhere. And there was a time there when NASCAR took a look at things and thought, okay, 4-cylinder, lighter weight cars, that's where we're headed in the future of transportation. And we want to be on the front end of that, give them credit for that. But as a racing class, it just never really developed.
It provided good, the reality is there wasn't enough time in the weekend to fit it in.
Yeah.
And it was good. It was good racing, but it just didn't have the names and the things.
It was primarily a short track series in the Southeast.
Yeah.
And they did bring it here to Daytona during Speed Weeks back in the day, and it was one of the undercard events for the Daytona 500, but just never really. Michael Waltrip came out of that series. That was one of the things that helped propel Mikey along.
And a couple of my buddies ran in that series for a while too, and it was fun. It was a fun little series, but just never got the momentum needed.
But in SCCA competition, these cars do put on a terrific show, and we watch this fight now. Bacon with still his hands full. Henderson has come back.
Yeah, Henderson is regrouped here and caught back up.
Final lap of action in GT3 at Daytona International Speedway. Henderson still loose, though, coming off that corner heading to the bank.
Yeah, I think that's what the issue is. Tires on. He might have just dropped back, cooled the tires, and now going to do a late. And here he comes. He's got a late run going.
Chad Bacon with his hands full. This is for second spot. Can Bacon make that Toyota wide? Henderson in the Mazda on the outside. Can he draft by? He might have him here. We'll see what Bacon can do with him.
In braking, the Toyota should be good down here. It's running kind of a narrow line in.
Henderson.
Here he comes. Oh, easy.
Oh, they lean on each other. Bacon repasses going into the bus stop for second spot.
Both of them made a critical error right there. By pinching that corner off, they forced each other almost to have a wreck there because there was not any way to get through that corner with that early crabbing in that they did.
All of this allowing Joe Christensen to add even more to his lead, and the checkered flag waves over a flag-to-flag winner in GT3. Joe Christensen from London, Ontario, Canada, is your SCCA Runoffs national champion in GT3. And Chad Bacon will prevail. Gave up second spot on the final lap to Mike Henderson in the 12th car, but Henderson is able to settle for third here as Bacon rallies on the final lap, gets back by the 12th car, I should say, and Chad Bacon is your runner-up in GT3. There's Christensen, your race winner. Bacon is second. Henderson in the 12 settles for third. Paul Young comes across the line in fourth position. Bill McGavick, James Ash will be next in line. Leidig, Nelson, Stevenson, and that'll be your final cars in full competition here, finishing the balance of the race. Stevenson ends up getting by James Ash on the final lap.
Paul Young did a great job of holding on to that Ford Probe. I think there was something, you picked up on it right away, wrong at the front end of that car. It was certainly a handful, and he kept it under him for the rest of the race. Fourth isn't bad when you're fighting something like that.
No, if he had a broken front end part, I give him a lot of credit for finishing.
Even a sway bar, is really hard to drive around.
Bill McGavick, fifth in the 69. James Ash, as scoring sorts itself out electronically, moves up to sixth in the final order. Guy Leidig, 7th, Kenford Nelson, 8th, Ray Stevenson, 9th, and Richard Allen, 10th. Robert Wakaki, who was the Sports Car Magazine pick to win this category and win the national championship, started late on pit road and did not complete a lap. So Wakaki's weekend, not nearly what he was expecting when he came all the way here to Daytona International Speedway, that is for sure. Christensen on a victory lap here in the 14 car, and Hayward will talk with him when he gets back to pit road in just a moment.
He's probably in a hurry to get back to pit road, being from Canada. It could snow up there any minute.
Well, it could.
It's getting late in the year.
Well, he might take the championship honors and just stay down here all winter. Some of these snowbirds will do that.
They sure do. It's a swoopy-looking car, pretty aero clean.
And it's one of those cars, you look at some cars in the paddock, and they obviously have been well raced. They can be plenty fast, even if cosmetically they're not the cleanest. This is a car that obviously has been professionally prepared.
It's done well. Whoever built the chassis and fit the body did a very good job.
So Joe Christensen coming to pit road as your winner in GT3, picking up national championship honors in these 2015 SCCA Runoffs, presented by Garmin Verb here at Daytona International Speedway. Christensen is your winner. A couple of cars lined up for a hardship lap before we go racing once again. Bacon in second, Henderson in third. That is your podium. And we'll send it to Hayward here momentarily to talk to those top three finishers. Coming up next for us in a couple of moments, Spec Racer Ford with a huge grid. 50-some cars ready to do battle there, and we'll look forward to seeing that. Spec Racer Ford Gen 3 was a great show yesterday, and we expect more of the same in Spec Racer Ford. There is Christensen pulling to a stop in the 14 car. Here comes Bacon settling into the 118. They'll drop the window net for Christensen. The driver from London, Ontario, Canada, peels off the head sock. Hayward Wagner is there.
All right, guys, we're here with Joe Christensen, the national champion here in GT3. Joe, it looked like the RX-7 gave you a little bit of pressure at the beginning, but you just kept your head down and went for it.
Oh, yeah. For a bunch of laps there, he's staying with me. I went with a low downforce, and through the bus stop in the infield, it was a little tricky under braking. In turn one, a little tricky under braking. I didn't have quite the same grip I did in qualifying. But I had the mile an hour down the straight, so I thought that'd be a better way to go for this, and it seemed to work out for me.
Now, this is a pretty unique car, rear drive, Honda K-Power up front. What were the teething issues coming into this runoffs? Was this car ready to go when you got here, or did you have to do some tuning?
We've been developing the car for 4 or 5 years now, and yeah, we were ready to come. We were ready. We didn't have to make a lot of changes when we got here. Like I said, we did a couple aero changes, but that's pretty much it. The Hoosier tire was fabulous. HPD helped us out a lot, and Christensen Racing Engines with a motor that just kept on pulling.
Well, big congratulations to you on the win here in GT3. We're going to give you one more lap, this time with a checkered flag, as we've got the rest of our podium finishers rolling in. We're going to get a chance to talk to Chad Bacon next.
After a long walk.
Little bit of a commute for us today. They're bringing the winners over to the other side of pit wall. Got our second and third place finishers congratulating each other. And we're going to see if we can grab Chad. For Chad Bacon, talk to your crew. They said you were on a bit of a strategy. You were going to let these guys run their tires off and then come after them. How'd that work?
It worked pretty well. I knew that if we could keep the tires under, this car is great on tires, and Goodyear has an excellent tire. So I knew if I could just be smart and not get out there and run the tires off early, I really thought I could win them on the tire race, and that's what happened. Brakes didn't help, or it didn't hurt either.
Now, it looked like Mike might have held back a little bit, let his tires cool off, and then came back at you on the last lap. Talk to me about the pass and pass back.
Well, I knew Mike had horsepower on me, and I could get him in the inside, so it was kind of a good little balance, but I made a little mistake coming out of 6 onto the banking, and he got close to me and kind of made me nervous, but he got around me, and I said, well, this is only ditch effort. I'm going to have to go way deep into the bus stop, and I did, and he let me in. So
Dorsey in the booth was talking about how you guys really were in there tight together, but kept it clean, came in both super shallow. How much trust did you have of Mike going into that turn?
Well, I knew Mike wasn't going to do anything crazy or try to run me in the dirt, and he gave me plenty of room. He was a great racer, and fortunately it stuck.
All right.
We would have both been out.
Congratulations to you on a second-place podium finish here at the Runoffs. We're going to talk with Mike Henderson. Mike, you chased the leader. It looked like you might have gotten a little bit hot in the tires. You got caught. You passed back. You probably had the most eventful race out there.
It was a lot of fun, I got to say that. It was a great race. I really enjoyed it.
Now, you were the lone rotary of these guys that was running up front. Was that giving you an advantage in places of the course? Was it hurting you anywhere?
You know, what I found was it was about the same on the top end, but they had me on the bottom side of the track, low gears, first through fourth. They had more grunt than we did. Top end about equal.
Now, the last lap going into the bus stop, you guys very close. Did you have a strategy going into that, or was it just go for it and see what you could get?
No, I was trying to get through as quick as I could, but I was just the heat of the day and everything was just wearing the tires down, and so I just couldn't go through as fast as I wanted to.
Well, congratulations to you on the bronze here, the SCCA Runoffs. Congratulations on the podium finish.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Those guys are parked right across from me in the motorhome lot. We've been over there all weekend with them, and it's good to see the camaraderie. It's good to see how happy everybody is.
Sure.
Here.
Great battle. Bacon and Henderson put on an excellent show for second spot. Joe Christensen, your winner. Bacon picks up the silver medal in his 118 car out of Tennessee, and Mike Henderson in that 12. Just heard from him a moment ago in the Mazda. Ends up in third. So you had an Acura, a Toyota, and a Mazda. Top three. Young in the Ford fourth. So just about all the brands represented among the top four finishers.
Yeah, and that's what you kind of expect. But this class is a neat little class. I hope it keeps going forward. Like I say, it's undergoing a bit of a development crisis, if you will. But it's cool. They're fun to drive, man.
Absolutely.
They're really fun.
They look like plenty of fun. Take you back through some of the highlights of this one off the start. Christensen, Mike Henderson on the outside. That was your front row of qualifying. Christensen took the lead down into one. Henderson backed off and settled into second there. It looked like he would run there the entire race, but didn't work out quite that way. You had Bacon and Young side by side there as we take it back one more time and look at it coming down into turn one once again. Young establishing himself in third here at this point, and you saw Bacon sneak to the inside in turn one.
And Paul Young left that open. I was really surprised about that. Leave the door open like that, and Bacon said, I'll take that. And, of course, that really helped him out as he runs down our second place.
This was the final lap on the backside. Henderson able to get around Bacon up on the bank.
They were both shallow, but you heard them talk. They knew each other were there. And
Sure.
They respect one another, and I love that.
And then Christensen winning by a wide margin, final margin 11 seconds over Bacon in second, Henderson in third. Young, who ran on a podium spot for much of the race in the Ford, ends up fourth in front of Bill McGavick. James Ash, Guy Ladig, Kenford Nelson, Ray Stevenson, Richard Allen, Robert Warkaki, 11th, failing to complete a lap. That'll do it for GT3 action in these 2015 SCCA National Championship runoffs. For Dorsey Schrader, Hayward Wagner, I'm Rick Benjamin, congratulating your national champion, Joe Christensen. There's plenty more to come here at Daytona International Speedway.